Hey, thanks for that introduction, Double Lift. What's going on, GameLeapers? It is the Jizz back at it, and in today's video, we are going to be revealing the 15 best top laners of patch 11.4. So if you want to know which champions you have to pick so you can win your games, buckle up for the next 10 minutes. Now, in this patch, there are a couple of big changes to top lane champions and items, which has resulted in a shift in the balance of power. And the Jizz is here to keep you up to date on what these wacky changes are and what they mean for you and your favorite champion. Now, if you want to master, if you want to perfect any champion on this list, guys, then you know what you have to do. Get signed up to the GameLeap website. We have the freshest and the best courses, guys, and videos that thousands of your fellow summoners are already using, so why not join the GL family? You never know, you might even be calling the Jizz daddy from now on. Links, as always, in the description and comment section. Alright, let's get into it. Starting off the countdown, guys, we have one of the best carry top laners on the Rift, and despite nerfs to a couple of his items a patch or two ago, your chances of winning on SETT are still very high indeed. Now, one of the biggest upsides of the 11.3 patch, so the last one, was that your Mythic Strikebreaker wasn't touched, unlike Gore Drinker, so your Mythic Spike is still right up there with the best of them. SETT is also one of the few bruisers in the game who can destroy tanks, so if you think of Malphite and Chogath, because your Q and R deal damage based on the target's maximum health, so you can pick them up and then drop them on their head for an absurd amount of damage. Now, a reason you're not higher on the countdown is the fact your biggest counters like CAMILLE and Wukong are still strong, and you can't ban both, so in some games you are going to have to cop it. Nevertheless, in order to hard carry as SETT, your first two items should always be Blade of the Ruined King and Strikebreaker, and you are on your way to slaying it in 11.4. Now, this next pick I'm actually really excited about because this particular mage hasn't featured in our best top laner series before, so if you're looking for an AP top laner, choose SYLAS. If you're a fan of chains, it's pretty kinky, or if you just want to crush every single tank in the game, then there are few better. Now, there are two reasons behind SYLAS's inclusion. Everfrost, buffed. Cosmic Drive, buffed. You see, guys, Everfrost into melee champions, so 95% of top laners, is insane. It gives you peel, engage, setup, a bit of burst damage, and the fact this is buffed, and you can see these buffs on screen now, is legit. Those bruisers who can sometimes ruin your day are way easier to play against this patch. Now, the new and improved Cosmic Drive is also a big deal. A bit like this YouTube channel, so make sure you sub and hit that bell. It now gives you 40 ability haste and permanent movement speed when you have at least 160 AP, which is after your Mythic and the Drive, and these two stats, especially the ability haste, are huge on SYLAS. Throw in Boots of Lucidity as well, like how do you not pop off? Now, this next champion is our first tank of the countdown, and despite having one of the best win rates across the board, SION is coming in at number 13 for another reason. He's unlucky. Now, but in all seriousness, guys, SION is one of these beefy top laners who is having a much easier time in lane since 11.3. You know, because lots of bruisers and bruiser items got nerfed, and this patch, even with FIORA on the rise and some other strong fighters making a bit of noise, you have one massive counter, the Bramble Vest. For just 800 gold, you get a good chunk of armor and two passives, the most notable one being the Grievous Wound, so yeah, if you're against an Aatrox or a FIORA with a Doran's Blade and Iron Spike Whip in the first 10 minutes, you are the ideal cuck, not to mention your amazing setup and crowd control for those Fiesta teamfights. Now, if you don't find SION exciting, and why wouldn't you, I mean the outplay potential is huge, then this next champion, well, is one of the most unique in the game and incredibly fun to play. Now, since Riot buffed Singe in 11.3, his win rate has gone up heaps, a few percent in fact, meaning he's gone from pretty trash to pretty good all of a sudden. The 10% extra AP in your queue is actually meaningful because it brings AP Singe back into play, and there's one build I want you guys to try out that some of the best Singe players in the world are having a lot of success with. So you're going to get a Rylai's Crystal Scepter first, the AP, the health, and the slow that synergizes with your Q, all great. Then, and this is where it gets toxic, you get it because Singe is all about that poison, yeah, you're going to buy an Imperial Mandate. Now, I know this sounds whack, but with the Rylai slow from your Q, it's super easy to mark an enemy champion, and this makes you more valuable the later the game goes, because yeah, in some games you can become kind of useless, especially from behind. So give this a shot in your games, guys, and good luck with the proxy. Right up next, we have a champion who has been picked a heck of a lot in higher relos and in pro play, and you know why? Because he's a strong champion, that's why. So if you pick GNAR, guys, not only do you have one of the best laning phases because of your range, you also stay relevant in teamfights because, well, I'm sure you all know, because of your mega NARs engage in CC. Like so, the fact Strikebreaker is as strong as it's been recently is big news, and yeah, the fact you're a ranged champion as well lets you bully all those popular bruisers in lane like Darius and Jax. You also excel against tanks because your third hyper attack deals more damage the more health your target has, so you can chip away better than anyone. Just make sure to hold your E and ban Aurelia. We're into the top 10 now, guys, and if you're enjoying the video, let the Jizz and go know by dropping a like, and kicking off the top 10 is another meathead who has been OP since preseason began way back in November last year. Now, as Malphite, you're a great cuck to AD top laners and bruisers, and after a simple Bramble Vest buy, just like SION, and a balmy Cinder purchase, very few top laners can do anything against you. So Malphite is still a champion you have to keep on playing in 11.3. Now, one major item you can build as well got buffed last patch, this being Frozen Heart, so against heavy AD teams, if you weren't already a massive roadblock, you are now an immovable object and you auto win. Now, the reason you're not higher on this list list is because your big counters are still strong. So SETT, DARIUS, CHOGATH. So I'd advise not picking Mouth into these champions because you will be anything but rock solid, but into most top laners and teams you will pop off. Now if you want to pop off on another champion that isn't Malphite, guys, this next champion is the pick for you. And this is going to ruffle some feathers, I reckon, because he's banned a lot and lots of players think he's giga OP. Now this is DARIUS, guys, and he's OP, yes, but he has fallen off since the 11-2 nerf to his passive. Like, he used to have a 53-54% win rate across all elos, now it's just 50% in lower levels of play. The fact you don't have as much all-in threat these days makes laning against DARIUS easier, and his early game is weaker, so you're not going to die nearly as much, if at all. The funny thing is though, he is still a great pick despite all this because Strikebreaker again is a great mythic, and you can pump some of the best top laners on this list who we are about to reveal. Now if you're not a fan of melee champions, then I have a ranged top laner for you who is that good at the moment she's even been picked in pro games. A 57% win rate and master and above doesn't lie, guys, so if you want to stomp lane and bird poop on your enemies, then pick QUINN. If you see a bruiser on the other team, you should see these champions as worms that you can swoop on and gobble up. Now what makes your laning phase special, especially against champions with engaged like Jax, CAMILLE, RIVEN, you know, these popular top laners, you can just flip them off with your Volt. Another strength QUINN has that not many other champions in the game, not just top lane, don't have, is that you have a large choice of mythic items. If you need mobility, you can go Gale Force, you can go Prowler's Claw if you really want to snowball with the lethality, you can go Kraken Slayer to bring down tankier champions, or you can abuse Immortal Shield Bow for the lifesteal and sustain. With most players building damage and being squishy, you can dominate and 1v9 as well as ever on QUINN this patch. Alright, so you're not a fan of QUINN, I hear you, but you still want to 1v9. Well, it's your lucky day because the Jizz has something for you. Guys, I don't care if you're Iron 4, Gold 4, Diamond 4 Challenger, the 11-3 buff has put RIVEN back into major contention for the top laners spot in 11-4. As you can see, 2 seconds off your Valor cooldown at all ranks is massive. Think about this, guys. Ability haste has always been the key stat on RIVEN, and with Gorgerinka, which gives you a flat 20 ability haste, and a mythic passive which gives you an extra 5 haste for each legendary item, your E can be on close to a 3-second cooldown in the mid to late game. 3 seconds. Now most games in lower levels of play last a lot longer than games in higher reloads, so getting to 3 and 4 items and taking advantage of this passive is very doable. The best RIVENs in the world have shown how good RIVEN is, winning close to 55% of their games to get around the exile this patch, guys. Now ahead of RIVEN, coming in at number 6, is another fighter who is still insanely strong despite copying one of the biggest nerfs of all time this patch. For all you CAMILLE players out there, Riot added 2 seconds to your W's cooldown at all ranks, and I don't know how you're going to play CAMILLE after this, like it's a massive nerf. Good job, Rito. So yeah, this just means nothing, guys, and you're still going to be top tier. Like your Cho'Gath ultimate Q true damage is still there, your mobility and lockdown is still there, and we ain't talking COVID. And it's not like 80 carries who are stronger, so you can one-shot them like you've been doing thus far in Season 11. Now you might be asking, why is CAMILLE only number 6 then, Jizz? Well, your hardest matchups are still as strong or got stronger. RIVEN is as good as she's ever been, and Wukong and DARIUS are still hard to play against. And also, this nerf is still a nerf even if it is tiny. You can of course still hard carry and you're still busted, just not, yeah, giga busted. Alright, we're into the top 5 top laners for 11-4, guys, and before we send it, one last friendly reminder from the Jizz to check out the GameLeap website if you want to get to Challenger. Helping you improve is what we do, guys, so for guaranteed success this season, get your fingers moving, and click on one of the links down below. Okay, starting off the top 5 is a champion who has edged CAMILLE ever so slightly, and this dude was the best top lane on the Rift for multiple patches. So Wukong, guys, is still one of the best top laners in the game, and despite the item nerfs in 11-3, nothing has really changed. The thing is that one of the most effective builds on Wukong involves Goredrinker, Ravenous Hydra, and Steris Gauge, and yes, these items got nerfed a patch ago, so this trio is less effective now, but your Stay Strong in 11-4 card is the fact that you can build Trinity Force or Divine Sunderer as your mythic and be just as impactful. So if you're snowballing, Trinity Force. If you're against bruisers and tanks, Divine Sunderer. It's easy for you to make use of the sheen damage via your Q, and your kit is designed to destroy the most popular top laners. So DARIUS, SETT, FIORA, CAMILLE, Garen, so whatever elo you're in, the Monkey King still reigns supreme. Now I've got a question for you. Are you a fan of Beyblades? Well, if you are, spinning to win has never been easier. So in the next 2 weeks, guys, one champion you have to start playing is Garen. So yeah, Strikebreaker saying the same is awesome because you have one of the best mythic power spikes out of all the top laners. The dash gives you another gap closer, and the slow gives you the CC you desperately need. On top of that, your early game is already strong, and the breaker makes your early to mid game very hard to deal with. Now the nerfs to Deadman's Plate and Steris Gauge from 11-3, yes, you're not going to scale as well, and it will be harder to survive, but the fact that tanks are seeing more play is great for you because your ultimate deals more damage the more health your enemy has. Just ban Darius. Alright, the top 3 guys, here we go. And the bronze medalist for the best top laners in 11.4 is the best Divine Sundra abuser in the game. Now, if you're a fan of the name Susan, and if you want to win, Nasus is very hard to go wrong with. The 1025 buff that saw your Q's cooldown reduced by half a second, and it sounds like nothing, has actually had a major impact. And Nasus's consistent plus 50% win rate proves that. You see, as Nasus, guys, your mythic Divine Sundra is safe from any nerfs, so it's as good as ever. Gargoyle's Stoneplate is the same after it got buffed in 11.2, and the buff to Frozen Heart from 11.3 hasn't gone anywhere. So once you escape the early laning phase, guys, and have points in your queue, getting withered is literally the same as dying. That's how broken Nasus is. Now, one of the few top lane champions who got affected by the 11.4 patch notes is the best bruiser on the Rift this time around. The runner-up to the best top lane in 11.4 is FIORA, guys, and the 11.4 buff has already seen our win rate go up at least 2% in just a day. The fact your vitals do more damage is huge because your laning phase is even better, so if you get just 1 kill in the first 5 minutes, let's say, nothing is going to stop you. Like CAMILLE, I know there are lots of top laners who can't stand FIORA, but she was underperforming big time. This patch, she is back into play in a big way, and there is only one champion that is better. Now, to find out who this champion is, guys, you know how it works with the jizz. I'm going to give you some clues and you have to guess who it is. That's if you haven't already done the jizz and yourself dirty by sniffing out timestamps in the comments. I love a good feast. My core items, Frostfire Gauntlet and Thornmail, give me the sticking power and defense I need. I don't really care if Fiora is strong because like SION, I have a riposte myself, an early Bramble Vest. Like Nasus, I can make use of the Frozen Heart buff from 11.3 by building it into attack speed based AED teams. Another buff from 11.3 is keeping me strong this patch, and that's the Force of Nature buff that gives me more movement speed in fights so I can just bulldoze my way through the enemy team to see what the enemy squishies taste like. And I have the highest win rate out of all the top laners, so how can I not be number 1? Guys, the best top laner for 11.4 for the second patch running, and congratulations if you got it, is CHOGATH. Let us know your list down below and thoughts in general, guys. This has been Coach Cheese, and until tomorrow's video, peace.